All right, everyone. We're going to be looking at a Nocturne mid gameplay. It's Beans. I want to say that you only have 2 games to pick from, which means someone doesn't play ranked much. But also, I didn't really want to pick the Ari one. A, because you said it was kind of troll, but B, I was like, might as well do something because I know you said you wanted to play Nocturne, and this was a win anyway. So we can kind of see how we can better clean up the win, especially when playing Nocturne. You fall off really, really bad late, and you don't want to try to. And when I say fall off, I don't mean by damage, well, unless you're going against tanks, but I mean by team fight potential. You don't really have much. If you ult, especially when they're all huddled up as 5, you're not going to have much success picking off somebody rather than them being solo. So we don't want the game to get to that point. So playing Nocturne mid against Silas, one thing we want to ask ourselves here is, what does a Nocturne usually want to do? He really likes roaming if he can. If anything, he just wants to kind of push to 6 and then really start roaming. Doesn't really want to look for trades too much. You just pretty much want to hit 6 as fast as possible, look for roam opportunities, but the actual fight potential we have, especially into Silas, a champ that can jump out of your fear range, is pretty limited. So you don't really want to look to fight him. When we looked at Silas, what does he really want to do? He's probably just going to try to harass, try to look to fight, and you just want to play back. This is too far back though. Don't be afraid to use your auto attack passive to get the procs to hit him. So you would get a little bit, kind of like Silas actually, where you want to get close as possible when you're using an ability, and then it just kind of hits him for a little bit. Also, the trick you can do is that same like slice mechanic that you just seen there for your passive. If you hit him and you time it and you know the damage of your passive, this requires you to play a lot more Nocturne. You can actually hit him with a full damage of an auto and then cleave the rest of them. So I have a little secret service trick there, but totally up to how you would play. So one thing you don't want to do as a laner, no matter what lane you're in, you don't want to just recede and give the lane and be like, well, okay, you can take care of it. You can take control of the whole lane. That's not what you want to do. You don't necessarily want to fight him, but you don't want to just roll over and be like, you can do whatever you want in my lane. I don't have much to do to you. Realistically, they shouldn't really know the matchup that well, especially if there are multiple players that are swapping champions or swapping roles. But you don't want to roll over and be like, well, do whatever you want, no matter what lane you're in. That is a bad type of thing, and you want to make sure that you're still kind of asserting enough dominance to not really be bullied out. Of course, being in range is a little different, but when it's melee like this, there's really no reason to back up. Yeah, you should have been this close the entire time. So you do not want to do that, okay? So the first note we're gonna write here is make sure we try to play more up. We do not want to appear too passive. If you're too passive, everybody just takes advantage of that, especially at higher elo. He doesn't really know what the fuck he's doing, so he doesn't take advantage of it, but look at that. Look at that. That right there is why you don't do that shit. Because look how strong you are, right? And if this player actually knew what he was doing, as I say, he doesn't really know the matchup clearly, but if this player knew what he was doing, and the fact that he would have taken Q for, or E first and not whatever the hell, I think he might have taken W, he would have already been messing you up. And he already would have been having that pressure, and you wouldn't be able to do that. The only reason you were able to do that is because he really didn't do anything with the pressure either. He just like sat there too. So, but because he didn't exert any pressure, you didn't end up actually low. You didn't end up taking really much any damage, and you went on your own terms. This is why you want to keep it basically even, so that he can't do that and push you back, which means that you can go in on your own terms. But if you're too far back here and stuff, and you're scared, you can't do shit like that. So I really can't say good play. Only because I don't want you. I mean, it was good, but it shouldn't have been that easy. Always remember, you know, you want to climb because you're better. You don't want to climb because these players suck. Always remember that. All right. Cool. Nothing's wrong with that. Perfect. Okay, we see he's MIA. Can't really freeze with Nocturne. You might not really want to either. There's really no reason. Yeah, you kind of want to try to perma push as much as possible, especially because his wave clear is terrible. So against people that have bad wave clear, it's perfectly fine to perma push them in, especially because you're really good at roaming, as we said before. That's what you want to do. So you want to try to push them in as much as possible and look for stuff to do. Because what happens if you don't, especially with an early game champ like Nocturne, is that eventually you're going to get to the point where your whole team ends. And if they all end and you really didn't have any impact early, as a mid laner should, unless you're playing like a Z or Xerath, you know, that type of stuff, the game's going to be incredibly hard for you. So once again, you see how like back you're playing? You shouldn't be playing like this. Like, you want him to come onto you. You're better at him. You're better when he engages onto you than when you engage onto him. So if you walk up and he decides to take that fight, especially with as many minions that you had, you'd have been able to win that fight easily. Yep, clear it. All right. Now you want to look to roam. Go look to do something. If we look right here, there's a fight that was breaking out up here already. So at the same time we got done with that wave, there's a fight breaking out, getting ready to. You'd be looking, and you'd be like, oh, I see it. And you go in on that. Right here, they're not really that low, so good luck ulting that, right? I wouldn't want you to dive that. But we also see Diana's up here. So you could be using the jungler to get your lead as a mid laner easily. So when you notice, oops, the jungler is in an area for a gank, don't be afraid to use them and backpack off their ganks. So Diana could possibly gank after that blue buff or maybe after this Gromp, whatever. But if we can go when she goes, especially as Nocturne, considering you could be right here and she could be right here, you just ult and you'd reach that destination. That's a 3v1 gank, could get plates, stuff like that. So don't be afraid to piggyback off of your jungler. It's perfectly fine. Another little trick you should be doing is once you shove, walk back and look at lanes. Nocturne is scary when he's in my A, especially after 6. So what you can do is you can perma shove up and you can just walk back, kind of like you did just then, but do that every single time and then look at your lanes. What this does is it gives you information about what's going on in your lanes, but also tricks them. He's going to be like, well, Nocturne left lane. Everybody be careful, but you're just standing right here, and then you show up again. And you rinse and repeat. Eventually, he's going to like stop pinging because his team's probably going to flame like he's not leaving or whatever. You know, shit could happen. And when he doesn't ping that one time and you actually do go to roam, then, you know, you're getting kills for free. When you do roam, you don't want to go this way or this way. You want to come back out of the vision, and then you want to pick and choose. That way they can't tell where exactly you're going. I'm not saying you don't know that already. I'm just saying if you didn't know that, definitely make sure that you get out of vision before going to roam. We'll see if you roam this game in vision. Because your level 8 is 9 minutes in, and you didn't really do anything. And that's not good as a mid laner. You need to be making stuff happen, especially as Nocturne. You see? So that was a play because your teammate just managed to do something and the Kha'Zix just tried to fight the jungler and you just ulted in. That doesn't happen all the time, and there are some really slow games where nothing really happens. And then everybody just starts hinting at the same time. You've had those games. Everybody has had the games where it's extremely slow and then like everybody just starts dying at the same time. Or what's worse is everybody dies like at the start of the game and everybody's just dying all over the place. Remember, your main goal as Nocturne is that I want to shove up and look for plays around the map. Look for roams. As you see, your team is kind of just losing, and we didn't impact anything yet. Especially when buying Tiamat, you should have really looked to shove a lot. Okay, that was just bull. Which is always bullshit that was happening. What you want to do is just, whenever you see your team coming to your lane, you go to their lane. So like, let's say bot goes mid. Well then, like your bot, not their bot. Your bot rotates mid, well then you go bot. Your top goes mid, well then you go top. And you start pressuring those side lanes, no matter what champ you are. You need to make sure that you're constantly getting farmed through the side lanes because you do not want to fall off and fall behind, fall on CS, whatever, levels, everything. That's good, I like that. Exactly, just like that. I don't know if you intentionally did that or you just decided to catch the wave, but it's the same example. If you do that already, then good shit. Okay, going for a play there. And now, 18 minutes in, you're trying to look and try to like help your team and go for plays and stuff like that. Do that earlier, and you'll be good to go. Good to go. Same thing when you play Ahri. You want to shove in, rotate, start doing stuff. Same thing when they play Diana. Pretty much all the champs that you play are generally roamers. Okay, so then now we get to mid game. We want to ask ourselves, well, how do we play Nocturne mid game? Pretty much the same as you play all your other champions. They actually follow a similar pattern everywhere. So as Nocturne, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're just looking for picks. You see how you're constantly following your team? Right. So if I were to throw a ball at you and you were looking at me, and I threw it at you, what are you going to do? You're going to do two things. You're going to move or you're going to catch it. If I throw the ball at you and you're looking away from me, you're going to do one thing, get hit. Right? Same thing. You be the ball. If you're in front of them, they're going to know as soon as you press R exactly where you're coming from. But if you're on the side or behind where they can't see you, right? If you're behind, well, that means that I had no clue they were coming. If you're from the side, no matter if you're playing Diana, Ahri, whatever, they see you, but they can't react fast enough. If you're coming from behind, they don't see you at all, right? Same thing as a ball, right? If I threw it, and you eventually see it in your peripherals, but you wouldn't be able to move fast enough. So, same concept, same concept. So actually, we'll write that. Make sure when you're looking to fight, especially as really good pickoff champs, to come from behind or the side. Very, very important. All the champs you play, like I said, are you more or less pickoff champions. I haven't seen you. You said you play Syndra. It's a little different. You don't want to do that with fucking Syndra. You can flank if you really have to, but it's perfectly fine to be in the front or with your team. But not with like Diana and stuff like that. You don't want to come from the front because you're easily to pill off. Alright, it's a little situational. I would honestly prefer to flank or come from the side, but if you could play it from the front, it's fine. Alright, I like it. Nothing wrong, nothing wrong, nothing wrong. Doing good. Okay. So go catch top side lane. From right now, Misfortune's bot. There's no fight that should happen mid where we're going to win because their whole team is here. This is getting ready to push. We can see it, so we want to go top. You see how we're just kind of doing nothing? He's just wasting time. And we could be going to collect farm, and we could be going to get top tower. So this game really only looked like we won because we kind of got carried. And when I say got carried, I'm not saying he didn't do anything. That's not what I'm saying. Play-wise, though, like actual macro decision making, you just got carried with it. Your team decides to do something, and you decide to, okay, I'll do it too, and then it works out. Whether it's good or bad, you're just like, well, I'll go, and we'll see what happens. When you're carrying games, you can't really be like that. You have to be the one forcing these plays. You have to be the one telling your team what to do. You have to be the one basically micromanaging everybody. You always have to remember, when you're ahead, any choice that you make that will start putting you behind, you're gonna end up throwing the game. So when you're ahead, you gotta be really, really cautious. Because you're not really ahead right now. It's just kind of like whatever. But so when it gets to the point where it's like late game and we just die like that and we like all end up dead, you want to ask yourself, can we even 5v5? We have Mordekaiser, Diana, Nocturne, Misfortune, and Set. And then they have Garen, Kha'Zix, Sylas, Caitlyn, Thresh. If I go in, Garen could silence me. If I go in, I can get flayed back and get trapped. Probably not best to go in until the fight starts, so you would want to wait. Diana and Mordekaiser, I think it's a pretty solid team fight you got. You just don't want to go in first. You want to go in when some stuff gets burned. This is nice. Pushing side lanes. Should be doing this earlier as well. Okay, so we see our teams fighting. Look where Diana is. There's no way in hell Diana's getting to this fight before you get here. Just keep shoving. Just keep shoving. Just keep shoving. That's a tower. The whole team's here. Diana's pushing. You push that. We get 2 towers and an inhib, or 2 towers and 2 inhibs. Either way, it's worth. So we go. We die. Exactly how I said we would. And look. And this is what I mean. You're not really doing anything to carry the game. You're just playing the game. And when your team sucks, they don't really suck that bad this game. But when your team is like actually bad, and you don't really take control of the game, you're gonna have a really, really hard time carrying games. Alright, once again, like I said, we can't really 5v5 unless you happen to go in later. So you have to pick and choose the right time to go in. You don't want to just fly yourself into situations. Let's see what you do here. This is fine. I like this. You choose to fly in. Yeah, don't stop here. Gotta wait. Wait. Don't ult yet. Don't ult yet. Good. Good. I like that. Very nice. Very nice. Okay. Once again, we do not want to come from the front. We want to start coming from the side or from behind them. Make sure you grab yourself a scanner. Do you have one? Yes. No, you don't. You have a pink, though. Right. Team didn't start fighting the fight. You ult in, you died. And your team cleans up the mess that you just made for yourself. And if they were bad, though, they would have all died right there. So as I said, it's kind of the habit that I'm noticing here. And that's something that is just a habit from you as a player. You're just probably not used to assuming that role, that leadership role, so to speak. But you're gonna have to if your games are going to be extremely hard. You know, you can't really expect to carry the game if you're not really putting your foot forward. So, homework, I definitely think, be more active early game. Look for more things to do. And then later into the game, make sure we are the ones pinging and telling our team what to do play by play. Typing, no, don't type. You don't type to monkeys, right? If scientists trains monkeys, they're not typing. They're not giving them letters. Using lights and sounds. So it's the same exact thing here. So I hope this helped you. If you got any questions, you know, I always say just feel free to message me. And that's pretty much it. So thank you for participating in the free VOD. And maybe I'll see you again next Saturday. Till next time, Blaker signing out.